Do not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What is going on today? We're going to talk about, will officer review my past visa applications? Friends, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting. And again, today we're going to talk about whether officers review your past immigration files. All right, so this is a very important question that some of y'all might be thinking, oh, it's okay. I can I can leave off a fact on a prior application. It's going to be okay. No big deal. Well, of course, I'm here to share some examples of situations that people have suffered through and came to our office and asked us some questions. And fortunately, we were able to resolve it. Folks, my name is John Ting, and I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America, helping you solve your immigration problem and maybe even preventing it from happening in the first place. Okay, folks, so we have one of our wonderful team members, Maria, helping us on TikTok to pin any comment or pin any questions that you leave here as a comment. All right, and I'm going to switch over to YouTube and Facebook from time to time to answer some questions. So please feel free to ask a question down below, all right, whichever platform you're watching. And of course, I'm going to do my best to answer your question. Sometimes I have to go pretty quickly. So if I don't answer your question as in-depth as possible, or if I just not able to answer your question at all, please feel free to give us a call. We also actually offer a free strategy session, no cost to you, and no obligation to hire. Of course, it's our pleasure, our pleasure to assist you from start to finish, or from the middle of the case to the finish line to get your status, whether it's a visa, a green card, or citizenship. All right, so the best way you can do that, you can give us a call right up here. If you're on YouTube and Facebook, you can see it. On TikTok, it's a bit strict, so I'm not able to share it verbally for some reason. So we do have a secret code that we can share with you. So that helps our CARES team to prioritize your inquiries, because we do receive a lot. And we do appreciate your trust. So the secret code today is, today's secret code is school. All right, I'm happy that my kids are back in school. So that's the secret code today. All right, the secret code is different every day, just so we can keep you all on your toes. We basically want to share some appreciation to some extent that you're here live on the show, listening to us, listening to what I got to say. It's not always negative. Sometimes some positive stuff, but in general, usually talking about why cases are delayed and what you can do about it. All right. So in the meantime, all right. So will officer review your past visa applications? Yes, they do, unfortunately. So with that being said, for those who already filed your application, let's say, for example, student visa, I'm sorry, not student visa. Typically, I haven't heard of anyone misrepresenting on a student visa application. Fortunately not. But typically it's on a B1, B2 application, specifically DS-160. So all non-immigrant visas in general, the application is the DS-160. But one common mistake, okay, typically, unfortunately, is intentional. And maybe it's because that person has been guided by some notario, someone. Fortunately, I don't think anyone I've heard pretends to be a lawyer, but it's kind of like buyer beware. You want to be careful who you're engaging with for legal advice. Of course, depend on a lawyer. I'm not wearing a tie, but I'm a lawyer. You can check out our website, greencardguys.com. You want to make sure whoever you're listening to, whoever you're getting advice from, is legit. Okay. So fortunately, we're very, very fortunate that we have over 300 5-star reviews. But even then, read them. Make sure that it's not fake, right? It's very important that you take a look at that, because the decision you make about your immigration status can have a ripple effect can make it very difficult in the future if there's a mistake. All right. So in this situation about visa, non-immigrant visa applications, you don't, someone asked me this the other day, bless their heart, of course, this is a very common question. It is, can I, someone is married, do they leave that off if they're trying to get the visitor visa? Because everyone knows that, I mean, maybe not everyone knows, but that it seems to be a misconception that if someone is married to a person in their birth country or country of nationality, someone will someone will check off that they're married, right? Even if they're not married, which is kind of strange, right? That they will actually write down that they're married. So I've heard of someone putting in that someone's name, who is their boyfriend, girlfriend, but they weren't actually legally married. I totally get it if there's like a customary marriage. So maybe there's not um, an official, what do you call, like a marriage certificate at the time for some reason. But it's very important you verify that. So those are kind of very detailed questions we ask. So ultimately, what happens? Okay. You might think, well, how will USCIS or how will the government know later on when you apply for adjustment of status? Oh, it was 15 years ago, blah, blah, blah. Well, don't know. Technology, finally starting to use technology. I think they're starting to use scanners. No, I'm joking. They've been using scanners for a while. Okay. In fact, when you mail in documents, they ask that you don't staple or anything. They want to make sure you make it as easy as possible for them. So I see some people have followed us on our channel. Thank you so much. Sorry if I blabber, but there's so many tangential advice here, that context you need to know. And then pretty soon I'll be answering some questions, okay, in a few minutes. But ultimately, you need to know this, that I just want to hopefully help you prevent making a mistake. Okay, I can't walk you through an application. Otherwise, of course, you can hire us for that. But I'm here to help you prevent you making a mistake to the extent that there's going to be an actual immigration problem. Okay. If you get your application rejected, sometimes because you didn't provide the correct filing fee, but if there's something consequential, maybe many years later, because when someone applies for a visitor visa, maybe to some extent they're hoping for the green card, right? They're coming to America and eventually they get a green card, but maybe you don't actually marry a U.S. citizen until like maybe 15 years later, and then all of a sudden you apply for the application 45, the Y-130, etc., all the other forms, and then you go to your marriage interview, and this is when the officer will ask you this question: have you ever misrepresented or lied to any U.S. immigration agency for an immigration benefit? So inherently, when you apply for immigration visitor visa, that is for immigration benefit. All right. So that question is actually on the 485 application. So there might be some time. Ultimately, it's up to you to provide that answer. And I've seen sometimes where some lawyers may not question their clients or scrutinize their clients as closely as they need to. So sometimes in a strategy session, you might be taken away. You might have to take a step back. But sometimes we're not trying to accuse anyone of this, but we always have to make sure, have you ever lied? We ask those type of questions in a strategy session during the consultation, typically before we even email you a quote or anything, because if you later tell us, then we typically have to change the quote, right? Depends on if it's different facts that than a person shared than before, the quote changes. Ultimately, there's more work to be done. So the solution to this, there is a solution. Don't give up hope. Even if you made that mistake, do not give up hope. You can apply for a waiver. It's called a 601 application, the waiver application. Unfortunately, though, it's very restrictive. The first restriction is that it's only for people who have a qualifying relative. That is, you have to have a spouse or a parent who is a U.S. citizen or a resident. Okay. So believe it or not, you might think, well, I don't have a spouse, but maybe your spouse can file for you in terms of petition. I'm sorry, your parent, you don't have a spouse, but your parent filed a petition for you. Your parent can also be your qualifying relative for the waiver application. So it takes a lot of strategy. Ultimately, one more thing I want to share. There's so much I would like to share. I want to keep it as short as possible so I can answer some questions here. Appreciate your trust again. We're happy to guide you, point you in the right direction. But here's the last thing: is that this is one of the situations where I really recommend you have a lawyer. It doesn't have to be us, but at least consult with one, okay? Because it's a strategy. There's certain deadlines. If you decide not to file a waiver, whether you have a lawyer or not, and you decide not to file a waiver, depends on the situation, of course. But at the interview, they say you need to file a waiver, okay? They're going to give you 30 days, okay? If you talk to any lawyer, typically 30 days is not enough time. There are some situations where we don't think a waiver is required, but it's a little hazy. It's not always black and white. That we might say, look, if you want to pay us to help you for the waiver now, we're happy to do that. But since it's kind of a gray area, just be ready that we may need to file it when we have the interview. Okay, so that's how we advise clients to make sure that they're not completely surprised after the interview or at the time of the interview. Okay, folks. So again, there's so much I need to share, but I'm going to answer some questions. Again, if you're just now joining live, welcome to the show. I've been out a couple of days, had a family member's wedding, so congratulations to them. Wish them all the best. Now they're in it. Now they're in it. They found the right match, but now they're in it. So anyways, back to live show. Happy to answer some questions now. If for some reason I'm not able to answer your question in depth, or I'm just not able to get to your question at all, you're welcome to schedule a strategy session, okay? Go to our website up here, or give us a call number right up here. On TikTok, I'm not allowed to share those kind of details. They call it personal details. So send us a DM, okay? Or even if you call in, fill out the form on the website, you can mention the secret code today. Secret code is, what is it? School. Every day is a different code. Today's code is school, because I'm super happy that my kids are back in school. All right, so to the first question. Canadian visit 2 months on B1, B2, you overstayed extra month, and you get married. Is that overstay forgiven? Yes, if it is forgiven, okay, Waiver Jannah, Islam, only if the sponsor is a U.S. citizen. The sponsor is a resident, it's not forgiven. Okay. Wonderful question. Let's see here. Question on Facebook real quick. Okay, Isabella. Good afternoon. You have a question. So your husband's I-130 got approved 8 days ago. Okay, wonderful. But his I-485 is still pending. No updates from time he filed it in January. Any thoughts on this? Absolutely. Yeah, typically if you file both forms, those two main ones, petition and a 485 for adjustment of status, typically a petition is approved first in the sense that you get the notification for that first. Usually it's like it takes a couple of days. Usually for us it's been like the next day we'll see we'll check the notification, the case update, and we'll say the 485's been decided on. But yeah, you said 8 days, so it's not completely abnormal. But yeah, keep checking that every day. It's nothing negative to check, from what I understand. Check the status online. So I don't think it's completely horrible. But Isabella, just hopefully if you're the sponsor, hopefully you're a U.S. citizen. So otherwise, because I-130, so yeah, just because I-130 is approved doesn't mean the 485 is going to be approved. Because some people contact us, just like this question earlier, that made me think, okay, if the sponsor is a resident, that doesn't mean you're going to be approved. You have to show that you've made the beneficiary for national maintained status, okay, non-immigrant status. All right, back to TikTok real quick. Oh, goodness. I see. Okay. Okay, Jennifer. Thanks, Maria. Okay, you got married, you submitted the 45 by mail 1 day before your I-94 expired. Is that a problem? No, you can file that 45 after I-94 expires. We've had some clients that, overstayed their visa maybe 10 plus years ago, and they could have been married for many years, but then now finally decide to file the paperwork, okay? Fix their status, fix their papers. So essentially, that's okay as long as the sponsor is a U.S. citizen. If the sponsor is a resident, then I highly recommend to make it the easiest possible for your spouse to become a U.S. citizen as soon as you're eligible, which, by the way, technically it's 90 days before the 3-year mark, or in this situation, it'd be the 5-year mark. Okay. Does U.S. citizen employment matter? And if they are providing child support for marriage cases? You talk about for sponsorship in that sense. It certainly does help. We've had clients who have been on not working, but they've had assets to show proof of for the 864 form. Okay. If they're providing child support, I can't recall if that's a question on. I know it's an issue in terms of naturalization for the N400, but I can't recall right now. I know someone asked me that a couple months ago about child support. So you're gonna have to follow up with the strategy session if you can't find the answer. What forms do you need to file for your spouse in the U.S.? You're gonna have to, Brianna. Appreciate the question, but there's a lot of forms. Because I can give you two, like the two main ones are I-130 45 if you said your spouse in the U.S. But I need to know more information. Might not be eligible to file 45. I'm not sure. Everyone's situation is a bit different. But if your spouse entered with the U.S. in the U.S. and you're a U.S. citizen, the 45 you can file that. But there's many other forms. Alasan, does embassy still give you a package that come with a visa? Yeah, but it goes to the courier office. It's not typically at the embassy. So that's why before you have your interview date, you have already selected your location. Okay. Or soon thereafter, you select your location to pick it up, or they mail it in. Depends what you prefer. And sometimes it depends on the consulate embassy. Okay, how much is the filing fee for adjustment status? Well, so all these fees depend on the actual application. So in general, if you're filing for the I-130 petition and the 485 together, it's $1,760. Yes, I remember all these ridiculous numbers. And no, it's not because I'm just Asian. It's because we do this every day. Okay, we do this every day. So we just have things by memorization. But if you only file the 485, maybe because the petition's already been approved or pending, it's $1,225. All right, with the biometrics fee. Is this only for Canada? I'm not sure what you mean. I think maybe because you're saying because someone else asked about Canada to come to America, but we only handle inbound when people want to come to America for status. All right, let's see. I'm trying to set this up so it's a little higher. All right. Back to YouTube real quick. Anomaly network. If you had an I-601 approved in the past and it was approved, you need to file another one. You had to abandon your I-130, but your wife petitioned for your case approved. Is the I-601A from a previous case solid? I think you mean solid for your current case. I guess for your new spouse. There's a lot to go into that, so we'll need to have a strategy session on that. I suspect the answer is no, because your hardship based on your prior spouse, if it's prior spouse, two different spouses, it's based on your prior spouse. So I would suspect the answer is no, that you have to have a new one. And that's unfortunate because filing a 601A now allegedly takes 4 years, 44 months on average. That's the last time I checked, about 1 or 2 weeks ago. I think you mean you file 601A. Okay, back to TikTok. How long before a case reopen? They mean reopen with BIA or reopen with USCIS? They both take a hell of a long time. Or reopen with the court. Reopening with the immigration court, like the lower level court in that sense. There's no black and white number for any of the situation I just mentioned. But I can tell you with the BIA in general, it can take a couple of years, unfortunately. Same thing with USCIS if you file a 290B application, which, by the way, in these kind of situations, you really need to consider hiring a lawyer because, ultimately, the cases take a long time for processing. They claim it needs to take a long time. Okay, I get it. They do have a lot of applications. I do understand that, but they do need to do a better job to of course, process these applications. So with that being said, if you had waited a long time, you already filed it, waited like 5 years, 2 to 5 years even, and then you get denied, then it's just a waste of time, right? In that sense. So you really, it behooves you to at least have a consultation with a lawyer so you can understand the red flags, okay, for your specific situation. So I know I'm going here live to share, scenarios, but they're very, they're generalized. I share some examples, but they're generalized. Ultimately, it's not always specific to your situation. All right. Anomaly network. Prior one was based on your dad petitioning for you. Okay, that's good. Okay. Then you might have a better chance in that sense, because just because you have your spouse file a petition for you, well, is your dad still alive? Because if so, then you don't necessarily need your, well, I guess, yeah, if your dad filed for you, then it's a family preference. That's right, because obviously you're over 21. So, yeah, of course, if your wife's a U.S. citizen, then it makes sense for your wife to file a petition. That's it. That's an interesting one. It's Anomaly Network, if you don't mind scheduling with us, and we'll check it out, okay? I'll try to see if I can ask my team to verify that one. But you'll need to contact us so we can share the accurate information. Miss Amadi on TikTok, can you file for your sister? If yes, if you're a U.S. citizen, a lot of people think that people who are residents can file for their sibling, but no, you have to wait until you're a U.S. citizen to file for sibling, which, by the way, if you file for your petition for your sister or sibling, that's only step number one. And also, you really want to prevent a problem in the future. I know things happen in people's country and it's difficult, but if you have the chance and think everything's still safe in your country of nationality, and you really recommend that you stay in that country of nationality if you have a petition filed for you for family preference, because a relationship based on family preference does not waive unlawful presence, does not waive overstay. Okay. Of course, I know some of y'all think like, okay, well, you never know. I might get married to a U.S. citizen. Okay, sure. I was fortunate to not have to use the dating apps because I know that's probably just so many dating apps. I wish y'all the best to find the right match. But the family preference relationship does not waive the overstay or unlawful presence. So does not cure failure to maintain status, essentially. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Giselle, what typically gets approved first? I-130? Yes, I-130 typically gets approved one day before, assuming that person is eligible for the 485, which I keep going to this, that there's immediate relative or of his family preference, that they have maintained their status. All right, Erica Garcia, do you have to wait until the petition is approved to file 485? If your husband is a permanent resident, it's not so much the petition being approved, it's about the priority date. Okay, so for you, Erica, and for many other folks, so depending on the F2 for a spouse as a resident, it's the F2A category. I think I just saw it the other day that I just got updated because the October bulletin just came out, was just released about 1 or 2 days ago, and it finally got pushed back up, advanced to September 2023. I believe that's what I saw. Okay, so your prior date has to be September 2023 or before. So, but also again, if your spouse maintain your status, his or her status. If your spouse did not maintain status, then you're not eligible for, I guess for you, Erica, you're not eligible to file the 485 if you're not maintain status, unless other exceptions apply, which we can talk about in a strategy session. Alrighty, let's see here. To YouTube, Nepal123, your PD is March 15th, 2023. Was expecting that you at least get to file your 45 based on data filing in October, but did not happen. When do I think? I guess maybe you'll file. I'm not able to answer that for you. Sounds like you know which bulletin to follow or how to follow it. Yeah, EB2. It's hard to say because it retrogressed. So I don't believe that it like advanced back to normal. But let me kind of see if I can check real quickly. But in the meantime, question, I'm going to check that. Let me see if I can share my screen on YouTube at least. Okay, so Nepal says that their priority date. You said EB2. Okay. So unfortunately, EB2, even though sounds like you're in the US, it does still rely on Chart A. If it's family based, then it's Chart B if you're in the US for issuance of your status. So EB2, yeah, you said Nepal. So yeah, July 2022. So you have what, 6 months at least, or 9 months to wait. Looks like close to 9 months. Yeah, so yeah, you have to wait until that. Okay. Well, in terms of filing your 45, then it should be based on this Chart B in terms of filing 485, but they can't actually approve it until this one. Okay. All right. So this is a very complex. So I don't want anyone else to get confused about preference category and visa bulletin. If you have questions about the visa bulletin, always best to do it as a strategy session, because everyone's situation is different. I don't want someone to rely on it. But thanks for the question. Okay, Nepal. Let's see. Okay, back to TikTok. Y'all have a lot of questions. Wonderful. I greatly appreciate your trust for us to answer your question. All right. If you married a U.S. citizen, military person, or spouse, I guess, how long is the process? What are requirements? So there's a lot of requirements, but the main benefit of this, what you're referring to, is military pro in place. So if you have a spouse, you have a parent, or you have an adult child who is in the military, it doesn't have to be like on tour, on what you call it, like on duty. It can be reserves. Okay, that also counts. But the first step we recommend is really just file the I-131 application, but that's to the local field office. Unfortunately, not every local field office provides a receipt notice. So it's a bit wonky, but typically it's the no receipt notices for different application I-212, depending on field office. But with that being said, this application does not have, let me see, I can double check this. But I believe when you go into the tools and resources for the processing times, in some applications they do mention the field office, but I don't believe for the 131, because it typically does not go there unless it's military pro in place. But there's, of course, many other requirements that I'm not able to go through all right here. Looks like they have some kind of issue on the USAS website. Otherwise, I will share my screen. Okay. Okay, let's see. Is someone in removal proceedings eligible to, but anyway, the person who asked that question earlier, happy to chat with you if you want. We do offer free guides, by the way, like a PDF. You just click on the link, you download it if you want, and typically we have estimated timeline step by step. You're welcome to check it out. Just ask for it, okay, when you talk to one of our team members. Okay, Mo, is someone in removal proceedings eligible to apply for 45 or wait till I-130 is approved? You know what? It depends on the scenario. Depends how likely your case might get dismissed from court. But even if it's not dismissed, in some scenarios, they do require us to file 45. Even if if this is based on marriage, because maybe even the judge will might decide, well, look, I don't want to dismiss it, but I want to have basically the marriage trial, okay, in person at court. So but yeah, again, it depends. Ultimately, your question, what remote proceedings or not, it depends if your prior date reached on the visa bulletin. Let's see. Okay. Anomaly Network, is iwi before April 1997 or still subject to the unlawful presence bans occurred for the IRA law, and that went into effect, I believe, April 1st, 1997. I'm not precise on a date, but I do remember April 1997. But either way, I still just wouldn't risk it. Okay, you don't want to leave it up to customs officer or anyone to say, "Well, the law says this," when you're at the border or at the airport. Like you don't want to risk it. um, but yeah, in my opinion, it's triggered because some people might think, "Well, I entered before April '97." Anyway, that's a complex situation, so it's just more theoretical at this point. Let's see, any questions on? I know you got a lot of questions on TikTok. Okay. Some people have questions about OPT and F1. Eugene on YouTube and Facebook's ask if an F1 fills in February 2024 or files, I guess, the 2024, the tax of 22 and 23, and his spouse who is pregnant want to file I-130 in April 24. Will ICE, I guess you're saying, will ICE come to the F1 student before April? Fortunately, with Democratic president, ICE tends to not go after students, but they wouldn't if you're complying with your student visa. I can't tell if you're complying with your student visa or not, but I'm getting inference that you're not that person. Maybe not you. That person is not complying with the student visa. But yeah, I've heard it under the Trump administration that, but it can still happen under Democratic president. It's not as common. Okay. But failure to file taxes is not the reason ICE would come after someone. So hopefully that answers your question. I mean, come after for a student visa. It'd be because of a student visa holder did not comply with did not continue going to school, basically. Okay. So hopefully that helps answer your question. All right. Sorry, Maria. I think I missed that one on TikTok. Okay, let me go ahead. And by the way, while Maria picks a question, okay, that's right. So thanks, Maria. Okay, you received a request for initial evidence medical exam. It's 2 weeks after you filed the 45. Okay, what's your actual question? If you're just asking for advice on that, but yeah, you can. I mean, you should file a response to that RFE with the medical exam 693, and it's got to be sealed. Do not open it. If you want a copy of it, ask the medical clinic for a copy. If you're wondering, I'm just having to guess what your actual question is, but if you're wondering if like what happens after that, if you get requested for RFE based on medical exam only, the likelihood of having your interview waived is very high, because typically early years of the pandemic and before, traditionally, is that they would just send you a courtesy request so that they tell you, okay, bring the medical exam to the interview. But and those letters did not say mail it in. So if they say mail it in, most likely interview will be waived. But of course, this is just a live show. I don't know your actual situation. So it's just a hypothetical answer. Okay. Let's see here. Of course, I have to give, according to my state ethics, I have to give disclaimers. I don't know your actual situation, folks. I do greatly appreciate you asking questions, but ultimately, if you want as accurate answers as possible, please, you are welcome to schedule a strategy session with us. Not everyone's qualified. Depends on the scenario, just because we may have a free guide to email you instead. All right, but the secret code today, so it allows our CARES team to prioritize. I want to give you all some appreciation, and the secret code is school. Okay, the secret code is school. Okay, so our CARES team can prioritize your inquiry, your request, because we do get a lot of them, and I greatly appreciate it. All right, Fina, you filed for your sister in 2016. USCIS approved it in 2020 by mistake. Different case number. What to do? I'd mail if you're sure it's incorrect, then yeah, that sounds pretty quick. 4 years. They typically, by the way, folks, they 4 years sounds like a long time to file. Have a pending petition pending, but they typically take a long time on purpose, and it's actually for your foreign national, your beneficiary, your sister, family preference category to their benefit, because the longer the petition is pending is beneficial for your siblings' children, for example, your nephew or nieces. Okay, but to answer the actual question, what do? You can prepare basically a letter to explain the situation, and you want to make sure that the correct one is still pending. So, but if the correct receipt number is still pending, then that's good. But you want to screenshot or provide a copy PDF of that. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. These USCIS officers are human. People make mistakes, but you don't want it to affect you because yeah, you're right. You don't want to wait 4 more years and still wondering what the hell's going on with the petition, or maybe they send you a denial letter saying, "Oh, it was previously approved," which is obviously incorrect. So wonderful question. So yeah, you want to verify if the correct petition is still pending. Will remain pending until decided on, basically. Haven't heard of that situation, so thank you for sharing. We always appreciate y'all sharing your experience, whether because others can learn from it, of course. Okay, Yusuf, hello, sir. What do you think backlog is too much? Hell yeah, it's too much. It's ridiculous. Thank you for the question. I was wondering when to talk about delays. It is taking too long. And Yusuf, I'm assuming you're abroad, you're outside America. So in general, folks, especially if you're at the visa interview, it's been more than a year and you're still thinking, oh, the government will get back to you. No, they're not. If they will, it's going to take even longer. Okay. Because yeah, they quote unquote claim, okay, after 6 months is administrative processing. But in a lot of cases, unfortunately, they take even longer than that. And there's nothing in the law in black and white that says you have to wait 6 months. That's ridiculous. That's just what the hell they make up. So they can conduct their background security check. So Yusuf, I don't know how long you've been waiting. Be interested to know what stage your case is at and how long you have been waiting. But yeah, it's ridiculous. SCY on TikTok, you asked, do we service in all states? Where are we located? Let me pin this comment. We're located in Houston, Texas. We have an office in Dallas that a colleague shares with us. But yes, we provide service to anyone. Doesn't matter where you live. You can live in California, can live in Alaska. Actually, we do have some clients in Alaska, believe it or not. Actually, one of my colleagues just went there for an interview. So anyway, you can live anywhere in the world. Could be Anchorage, could be Antarctica. We'll help you out, okay? Thank you so much. Unfortunately, with technology and USCIS allowing scan signatures or signatures to be scanned, it has to be a wet ink, of course, but technically they still accept scanned signatures caused by pandemic, and they still kept it on that policy, thankfully. All right, Kelsey, can you travel within the U.S. with your passport even if you don't have a green card? From what I understand, yes. You do need to keep in mind the Real ID Act, I believe, will take effect in May 2024. So it's going to make it more difficult for folks who are undocumented because you'll need some, at least in Texas, you have some kind of star on the top right. Okay, which is a great segue. If you are eligible for something right now, don't wait. Okay, do not wait to file that application. Okay, of course, depends on how long you've been dating someone, for example, or just got married. You say you just got married yesterday. I don't necessarily think it's a good idea to file for paperwork, the next day. You want to build up the evidence anyway. But ultimately, in general, just saying in general, if you're eligible for that benefit, immigration benefit, don't wait because also just practically speaking, to live day-to-day life or to travel, you need to comply with the Real ID Act. So I don't know how people are going to comply with it when you don't have status, when you overstayed your visa, for example. So hopefully you have a situation where you're eligible to file for immigration benefit, an I-130 or for EB. Okay, so that's a good segue. If you're in the United States right now and you're considering to overstay, you might want to give us some second thought and just give us a call, okay? Give us a call and we'll provide you as best guidance we can. We always like to, share a screen, share the source of our information, okay? So you make the best decision for yourself. All right, Kia. Kia is very popular these days. Is there any way possible to come in the, oh shoot, I was so slow on that one. Sorry, Maria. Is there any possible way to come to US if the petitioner doesn't want to give her what? Her ID used for CFO? So what do you mean CFO? You mean customs? CBP? I don't know what you mean. Her ID? We don't require, USCIS does not require IDs for USCIS, but you mean come in. So I guess you mean for travel purposes. But petitioner, thanks, Brett. Appreciate the heart. That's a cool one. Never seen that before. By the way, it's getting close. I don't know why I thought that, but the way the heart looked, it looked like kind of Halloweenish. But it's coming up. Halloween's coming up. You have kids. What are they going to dress up as? I have no idea what my kiddos are going to dress up as. But that'll be a fun one. We can share later. Hopefully I answer your question because I couldn't really understand it. Cynthia, you're welcome, Kelsey. Okay, I just pinned Cynthia and David, or CNTIA. How long it take for siblings to process? Okay, well, I think I have at some point I had the visa bulletin up. Okay, in general, the petition can take many, many years, probably 5+ years. All right, so let me pull up the share my screen right here on YouTube and Facebook. I know if you're on TikTok, you can't see it, but if you do want to see it, you're welcome to go to our YouTube channel, greencardguys.tv. And no TikTok. I'm not trying to put people away or take people away from TikTok platform. But for example, the first thing you look at is the processing times in general. For step number 1, I-130. So I'm showing here. See here, clearly this thing's being a bit slow. But anyway, step 1 is a petition that takes several years. And then you have to wait for the priority date on the visa bulletin, F4 category. And so there's another slot of wait time, essentially, another round of wait time, which is on average 10 more years for the visa interview. Okay, let me see if I can pick it again. Oh, it's being slow. It's being slow, so I'll move on. All right. Okay, good, Eugene, on YouTube. The student came in November 2020, still going to school, so okay, complying. Okay. Working under the table. Okay, we don't know who that is, so that's okay that you shared that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you know what? We don't normally provide advice to students in that sense because, yeah, you're not, that person's not supposed to be working. I think maximum 20 hours per week, as long as that person has the temporary work permit as a student. So yeah, you might, I know the IRS, I don't know if the IRS, looks that closely about like if you were authorized to work. Not that I know of, fortunately not, but yeah. But at the end of the day, whether you need to file for taxes, which in general, if a person accrues income, earns income, not accrues, but earns income in the United States, that person has to file taxes. You're supposed to pay taxes on it. That's the American dream, is to pay taxes. Oh, wait, you didn't know that? So y'all need to know that if you come to American get status, you have to pay taxes. Otherwise, you don't want to be like, maybe allegedly President Trump and all those other high net worth people. So yeah, that seems like a catch-22 situation for that person, Eugene. But ultimately, for that person who is getting married, that F1 student doesn't have to provide copies of tax return to USCIS, only the ones that showed married together. So hopefully that helps. All right, back to TikTok. For those who just joined, whichever platform you're on, we do offer a strategy session for 15 minutes, no cost to you. It's our pleasure to assist you. Even if you don't hire us, there's no obligation to hire. We just want to point you in the right direction. Unfortunately, we're not able to help everyone. Depends on your question ultimately, because some people have hypothetical questions for the future, like far out. We're not able to answer those, okay? We can only answer questions based on the law right now. So anyways, The best way to get access to that is go to our website, greencardguys.com, fill out the form on the contact page, answer a few questions. But not everyone is eligible for the 15 minutes on the house. But that's the very first step. Answer a few questions, or you can just call us like old school. But if you're working and you don't know our information, just send us a DM with the use of secret code. School. Yeah, that's the secret code. Eugene, you're welcome. Happy to help. Yeah, there's a lot of nuances in the law, so that's why it's like advice coming at multiple angles here. Jessica on YouTube, why is it taking 2 years for USCIS to take off the conditions, remove condition 751 form on the conditional resident application, or not the green card in general? What is the likelihood they're going to ask? They're asking easy cases for another interview. It's highly likely in general for folks that have people who may assume they have a strong marriage, but it's not something what you think about a strong marriage. It's more about the evidence that you provided. Typically, on a 751 application, first thing to know, so that was not part of your question, but first thing you know is that they typically don't always ask for more evidence. So that's a good thing. Number two is that likely you're not going to have an interview. Okay. The fact that the 751 application is taking many years does not mean you're going to have a hard time. That's nothing to do about that. It's just that USCIS sucks. They don't have a good workflow, not like us. Okay, we get things done timely basis, not necessarily like the next day, but we do have systems in place to allow us to take the next step on the case, okay, and to remind us, of course, because we have many cases, but we do have limited spots every month. So it just that allows us to maintain our workflow. So we do get a lot of requests to help y'all, but it just depends on the situation. Okay, we really would love to help everyone, but some situations we have to refer you out. Let's see. So hopefully that answers your question, Jessica. You're welcome. Happy to help you. Anomaly Network. Oh, your question. Sorry, Maria. Or after this, I'll get back to TikTok question. Do I recommend obtaining FOIA docs if planning on doing advanced parole with DACA? You believe this will speed up your current I-130 case as well? Well, what's the purpose of getting FOIA? What kind of document you're getting? Is it because you lost a copy of your I-130 petition? What are you actually trying to get? Filing, the way you phrase your question, Anomaly Network, filing FOIA by itself doesn't mean you're going to have a faster process, but maybe I misunderstood your question. All right, back to TikTok. Do lawyers know when their clients are lying on their case, or do they just go along with it? Just asking. I have a pretty good sense if someone's lying. If someone tells me that they're not sleeping in the same bedroom as a spouse, I'm glad they told me the truth on that. But initially, I think it's a bad assumption, but it's safe to say that when someone says like, "Oh, you're married," that it's legitimate. But of course, when we ask for the documents, that's when we start taking a look, the evidence. When we start taking a look at evidence, if something might be fishy as well. But do lawyers go along with the lie? I don't like to do that. We don't do that. We want to make sure that USCIS, that you get the best case scenario in terms of increase your chances of getting approved when you tell the truth. But when you tell the truth, of course, want to make sure that you're even eligible for a waiver. If you're not eligible for a waiver, for example, 601 for misrepresentation, yes, it includes omissions, because omission is still a lie. It's still a misrepresentation, believe it or not. Some people don't believe that. But if you're not even eligible for that at 601, then there's no point to hire us, right? At least there might be no point to hire any lawyer for the full case after FOIA or something to verify information. But yeah, we just think big picture, okay? Hopefully that helps, because we can file a petition, you can get approved for that, but that doesn't really mean anything if we find out facts that you've misrepresented or lied to the government. No, you need to be eligible for that you need to have a qualifying relative for that 601. All right, so hopefully that gives you an idea. Fina, I think that was your question. Candy, is it best to get married in the U.S. or your home country? Well, assuming there's no right answer on that. There's no like you have to marry in the U.S. But I know you're asking, is it best? You can get, assuming your spouse or your fiance is outside America right now, you can get married remotely. Okay, you can get married remotely, and that is not allowed in every state. In fact, as far as I know, it's only allowed in one county in one state, and that's Utah County in the state of Utah. Okay, that's a hot tip right there, folks. If you want a free guide, you want the website links for that, send us a DM, Utah. Okay, so we'll know to send that to you. Okay, unfortunately, YouTube, you're not able to share to DM us, but Facebook and TikTok, you're able to. Oh, Yusuf, you live in the US. Okay, great. Well, Yusuf, which application did you file? Is it the 485? Okay, and you're in Oregon? Okay, now I'm scrolling through some of these. Maybe I missed that, Yusuf, but how long have you been waiting? Let me try to scroll up. In the meantime, Halls, you just got approved a green card. Oh, that's great. You just got the letter, but not the card. It's been 2 months now. Well, if it depends. If you was it 485? Was it AOS or was it consular processing? In AOS, you can submit inquiry. That's really the only other thing you do. If it's consular processing, you were able to come to US with a visa package, but don't have the green card yet. You need to apply. I mean, not apply, but you need to pay for the immigrant fee. I know it's very creative. They should just call it the green card fee. But yeah, it's $220, I believe. So depends on your scenario. Yeah, but you know what, Hans? I have been hearing from, we have a couple of clients like that too. I've been waiting at least a couple of months. But what's it called? The 485. Yeah, there have been delays on the green card production. Okay, for the 45. 45, you don't have to pay an extra immigrant fee, fortunately, after your initial filing fee. Do I have any, Brett, you asked, do I have any discounts for those who use any form of government assistance? We don't have, to be honest, we don't currently have that process right now, but we do have programs, NOAA programs. We don't have our own programs, something like Call Affirm. So you might want to check with our team about that, okay? But we don't currently have our own program in that sense. We can be flexible in that sense. So, but yeah, Brittany, you're welcome to chat with our team about that. Let's see. What's up, Sarah? Good to see you back. You said, what was that timeline that you said? Trying to find your follow-up comment. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'm going to be on for another couple minutes here. Then I have to hop off for 824 forms were sent to request that approve I-130 be sent to NVC a year ago to get off the AOS track. Yeah, those 824 forms suck because let me see the processing time. I'm surprised I actually have a processing time on this. Checking the USCIS website right now. It's being a bit slow for some reason on the drop-down menu. Okay, that's weird. Let me refresh. But yeah, we sue for that too. I mean, it shouldn't take more than this is situations like Jordan, it should be just rubber stamped. So that's my frustration. Some applications shouldn't take that long, but they do. And you have to pay for a fee for this. It's ridiculous. Not sure if that is. Of course, that was an interesting question. But yeah, something's going on with the USCIS server. So it's just taking a long time. But yeah, I am aware it's taking quite a while. Okay. And I'd love to answer this question as well. Okay, second to last question. User 96, etc. You file a K1 petition yourselves. I'm assuming it's petition. Would it move along faster if you have a lawyer? To be honest, not necessarily. But if you are unorganized, non-efficient, you tend to be a procrastinator, then yeah, it would be helpful to have a lawyer in that sense. Because look, in general, for many cases, there are many steps. It's not just one, right? So when one step is approved, for example, we typically have a lot of things already, like majority of the next step ready to go. So from step one to step two, there's not much lag time, for example. So hopefully that helps answer your question. But yeah, I think it's a misconception or misunderstanding that just because you hire a lawyer, that makes the government processing faster. Not necessarily. It just makes the internal processing faster, at least with us. That's part of our benefits. We have a pretty quick turnaround time to file your next step. But in general, for the first step, we do offer max, pro, or light plan, and that ranges from 30, 60, 90 days, depending on your budget, of course. Anomaly network, that's great to know. I mean, so just like any government process for FOIA, in the FOIA situation, if you're asking for specific documents in your request, okay, anomaly network, then it's faster to get back to you as results online. But if you're just saying like your entire file, it just depends. This sounds like a situation you might want to chat with an immigration attorney, because I wonder what that thing you're looking for. Okay. But you would know your immigration history better than anyone else. So we can chat with you, or you chat with the lawyer about that. Okay, Dr. Phillips, should you reach out to USCIS because your I-130 still says pending? Well, how long? How long has it been pending? If it's been 12 months, it's still too early technically in terms of, I know someone asked us the other day if we could file a lawsuit based on waiting 12 months of petition. I would still wait at least 15 months. Okay, 12 months, it's ridiculous. You still have to wait that long, but the U.S. attorneys would not, I don't believe they would think that waiting 12 months on petition is unreasonable, in my opinion. So I would at least wait 15 months. Someone has a question here about, was it Britt that asked this? You used to think that processing time would be faster. I think you're assuming you're referring to K1. Yeah, that was before the pandemic. But we're in a different era now. We're post-pandemic, and for better or worse. So that's why we're here. That's one of the reasons we're here live, to share as real-time updates as possible. Of course, I don't work for the government. I'm a private lawyer. I manage Ting Law Group, so I'm not privy to the details of the U.S. government. Right? That'd be great, but no lawyer does. We just try to aggregate data to give you a better sense of the processing times. PB, you filed VAWA a year ago, no results. Yeah, you VAWA for some reason, even if you're filed based on U.S. citizen, they take a long, or it doesn't have to be spouse, but yeah, it takes a long time. I don't know why it takes longer. They really need to treat victims with the same processing time as if it was filed like an I-130. Okay, let's see. One more question I'm happy to answer, and then I got to hop off soon. But if you're still on or you're new to joining the show, welcome. My name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America and across the world to help you solve your immigration problem, or maybe even preventing it from happening in the first place. Okay, so we do offer a strategy session for 15 minutes, no cost to you. We try our best to point you in the right direction. But sometimes our cares team does have a pretty good idea of scenarios where we just don't offer a consultation, because maybe we have a free guide about a PDF link or something, because we do have limited spots for the free 15 minutes. Okay. All righty. Well, I know some of y'all have more questions and I just can't get to it. I have to go to my team meeting. So y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.